Out in the Monaco Diamond League, the hype this weekend was a half theoretical 200 meter matchup between world champion Noah Lyles, Olympic champ Letsile Tebogo, and 17-year-old mythical beast Gout Gout, all on a notoriously fast track. The times were going to be delicious. And before I say anything, because I have some very bold claims, let's analyze these races. First, Gout Gout in the U23 race, and each time he runs, there is clear improvement in how he does things. This time, in the second strongest field he's ever raced, he gets the best start out of the blocks, while the rest of the midsection of the race is okay, and his closing straight continues to be an anomaly. Dare I say, comparable to the best in history. 20.1 flat, which seems a little lackluster at first, until a 1.9 meter per second headwind is revealed. Gout cannot catch a break. Adjusting for the wind, this is a 1993 neutral, and a brutal 19.80 with the maximum allowable wind. But let's keep that neutral wind in mind, since when you start adding imaginary winter times, it starts to get really dicey. Okay, now Tebogo v Lyles. Tebogo almost stumbles out the blocks, giving him a solid out if he loses this race. But off the bend, they're basically even. And in a battle of strength and composure on the final straight, Lyles proves the victor.
Lyles trying to hold off Letsile Tebogo, and he does it!
But honestly, Ogando and Charamba weren't out of this race. And the times, again, a little lackluster until you notice the headwind. So adjusting these top 3 times to neutral winds, we get this. Gout is already looking awfully competitive when he's just out here on his school holiday break. I know this is all hypothetical, so it should be taken with a healthy amount of skepticism. Additionally, both Tebogo and Lyles are rounding into form after injuries. But for Gout, this is some serious elite company, and because of these races, I have some confident big baller takes. Number 1. Gout Gout will make the World Championship final if things go to plan. He's already running fast enough to do it. He might even be an outside middle shot if he continues to improve at this pace. And number 2, Noah Lyles is my all-in gold medal favourite for the 200 meter this year, and I'll go down with this ship if I have to. Let's start with the first. Off the top of your head, I want you to name 8 guys who could beat Gout in a 200 meter right now. Lyles, Tebogo, Benerick, those guys for sure. Knighton's getting banned. Charamba and Ogando, who ran about on equal terms with Gout, were in the Paris final last year, and after today, there's a debate. Zimbabwe's Makarawu beat Charamba in the NCAAs, so maybe him too. Possibly Jareem Richards, who impressed at Grand Slam, but he got wrecked here today. And Zarnell Hughes if his 100 meter in Eugene truly meant he's on his way back to form. An editor intervention here, but in the middle of making this, Tamaz McCallum ran a 1973 world lead at the Ed Murphy Classic. And until I see footage, there might be some on screen, I don't know, it's another legally windy time ran by an NCAA student. So I'd still have him in the maybe pile at best. That's 3 athletes who will almost definitely beat him, and 5 maybes. The 200 meter isn't actually that deep. And as we've been finding out every other week, Gout is seriously improving each race. We're just being slightly misled by windy times. And looking past just visually analysing, the splits back up my idea. Initially, when Gout started making waves across the sprint world, the conversation was, fix his starts, and he's going to be a serious challenger immediately. Well, according to the official splits, in his first 30 meters, he went toe-to-toe with Tebogo and Lyles, even beating Noah through the first 30 meters, before tailing off pretty heavy for the mid-portion of the race, but finishing the last 80 meters faster than anyone in this field. And that's with the significantly stronger headwind. Of course a ton can happen on his way to the champs, but as it currently is, with the data provided, he's an outside medal threat right now. And for point 2, Noah Lyles being my all-in gold medal favourite for the 200 meter this year, Lyles has half ruined his reputation, stirring up so much self-inflicted hate from wagging his chin so much.
Ask you this one question to prove my point. Have you ever heard of Grand Slam track?
No, I have not.
And that proves my point.
People have actually forgotten how good his 200 meter is. Through 2022, 2023, and 2024, until Paris, he went completely undefeated across 25 races. And for most of this time, his 100 meter PB was a one-off 9.86 from 2019. He's increased his top speed capacity, has the experience, peaks perfectly for championships, is undoubtedly the most clutch sprinter this decade, and his only loss has a solid reason. So not only does all the evidence back him, He won his opening race against his biggest rival after an 11-month hiatus, which resulted in some pretty funny memes, but he also just runs better. It's often overlooked when we talk about the 200 guys, but Lyles went undefeated for so long for a reason. His running is so technically sound, and no one of this current crop holds their form as well as he does in those finishing stages. Except Gout, but he's not quite that good yet. Now the women's 100 meter. Julien Alfred is back again this week for her third, 10.7 this year, absolutely creaming this field.
She perhaps looks tense here again in the second half, but there goes Julien Alfred, there goes the Olympic champion.
And again, into an extreme headwind of 1.4 meters per second. That's really the story of this whole meet. Headwinds, headwinds, headwinds. Adjusted though, that's a 10.69. And not naming any names, but there was some healthy debate last week whether the 10.75 and 10.77 by Jefferson Wood and Alfred were legit headwinds. A fair argument, considering a lot of the times were still unusually quick, and only the singular race suffered from the heavy headwind. But this race gave last week's time some serious validation. It's pretty clear as day, Alfred is in freakish form. And if this isn't peak championship shape, can you imagine what is? Now, in the men's 800 we had a complete Olympic final rerun plus extras. And of course people were quick to call out. With the times we've been seeing lately, a world record might be in the cards. Except one ingenious prophet who said, too many people for an 8. It was so simple and obvious, and as a result, in the first 100 meters, there was a lot of aggressive moves made for the front, with a lot of barging, shoving, and all sorts. Energy uselessly wasted. Yet, considering there were 5 people in this field who have run 1:41, all less than a second behind the world record, Wanyonyi, time and time again, proves he's better, and it's not even close.
The abrupt charge has finished. Coming through really late is Sajati into third place, but 1:41.44.
The only guy to dip below 1:42, and the finishing shot was stone cold, and I haven't seen anyone even mention it. He hits the shush emoji while swaggering away, doesn't even turn around, and in the distance all you see is the destruction he left behind. His competitors keeled over, praying for oxygen. But back to real numbers. Somehow, even though the margins are this close, Wanyonyi's win stats over every other top athlete is insane. Against Topple, he's 11 wins to 1 loss. Tual, 13 wins to 1 loss. Sajati, 8 wins to 3 losses. And finally, Arop, who's his biggest competitor, he's 8-5, which is pretty close. But Arop got clapped here. And even then, half of Arop's wins come before Wanyonyi was even 20 years old. It's not news how well the men's 800 meter has been doing. But apparently it still kind of is, because only 20% of people thought the world record could go down in Monaco with this field. I mean, yeah, you were right this time, but that thing's a ticking time bomb. Wanyonyi now has 6 sub-142s, the second most in history only to David Rudisha, the world record holder, and again, he's 20 years old. Pair that with the fact that after a 141, he was nasal breathing and mogging the camera. If that record doesn't go down this year, it's a damn miracle. Alright, let's wrap up Monaco. First, Duplantis vs Karalis. It's not a rivalry, yeah alright, but Duplantis' almighty pressure is forming a diamond out of Karalis. He's being forced to skip heights in order to maybe keep up. So after a huge clearance of 592,
Will come to me. Karalis though.
he has to skip all the way to 610 to stay possibly competitive with Duplantis. And he gets really close. Again.
Oh, it was close. It was really close.
It's just waiting to happen. He's getting the height, but it's just not clicking. And after the hardest part is done, he knocks the height on the way down. Sure, they're really not on the same level, but you gotta remember, only 3 men in history have gone over 6.10 meters. Then there's a huge gap between those 3 men and the rest. Karalis is slowly being pulled towards that upper echelon. Also, Duplantis failed 3 hard attempts at 6:29, a would-be world record.
No, not a world record tonight. He is fallible, he is mortal.
Men's high jump also got some good screen time, because we actually saw a battle of 2 men going deeper into the 230s. And by deep, I mean 232.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we get what we're given. Jan Steffler jumped 233 the week prior as well, and he's been on my radar for a while, but was massively inconsistent last year. And to be honest, that's kind of the men's high jump in a nutshell, besides Wu. In saying that, Wu Sangyo clattered the living hell out of 234 for the win, and equal world lead.
Oh, he hit that with his hand. It's almost like he pushed it back on.
And he's undefeated for the year. Although since I'm picking favourites this video, for now my favourite pick is Doroshuk, until Hamish Kerr pulls up his bootstraps and starts jumping well again. And while finishing this recording, looking at my phone, Quincy Wilson just ran a 44.10. That's an improvement on his under 18 world record. You know, it's been interesting watching him struggle this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that might be his first time breaking 45 this season, and I was really hoping that was because he was timing his season to actually try and make Team USA individually this year. And with this, I guess my prayers have been answered. What are the odds on this? We now have a 17-year-old prodigy in the 100 meter, a 17-year-old prodigy in the 200 meter, and a 17-year-old prodigy in the 400 meter, all of them having at least a reasonable shot of actually making the World Championship final.